Hello, everyone. Welcome to our second ever NoBullEconomics podcast. We promise to post every week, and we've not fulfilled that promise so far.
Been a little slow on that, eh, Danny?
Yes. Here we are, like 4 weeks later, filming our second video, but I think it'll be a good one and a very informative one. Today, we're going to be talking about the potential commercial real estate crisis that we're seeing.
Yes. It has become a mainstream topic, as some people would call it. And along with the commercial real estate topic, we also want to be introducing something new, a new product, something very innovative, something that we think y'all all will like and want to get on with, something that involves a cash prize even maybe. So stick around for the end of this conversation. We'll be introducing that topic a little further to you. So when it comes to the commercial real estate market, I'm sure that all of you have heard about it somewhere on the news, somewhere on Twitter or on Instagram, about how there are a possible crisis in the works when it comes to commercial real estate. And it's all started over this idea of during the lockdowns, a lot of people started wanting to work from home. And a lot of people just, they got stuck with that. And now they're loving working from home. They like working from home. They don't want to be driving 30, 40, 45 minutes into the city to go to work. They want to be able to sit at the house, do their work, talk to their kids at the same time, take a couple breaks, get back to work. You know, the usual things that you do when you're working from home, like maybe scrolling on Twitter every now and then.
And the problem with that is, well, a lot of these big companies, corporations, banks have spent huge amounts of money for this high-end real estate in the city. And when there's no people going into the building, it starts to look like a pretty bad investment pretty quickly.
Oh yes, definitely, especially coming up. A lot of the estimates show that there's going to be a large amount of debt. Don't know the exact number, but a large amount of debt on these loans maturing in 2024. So we could actually see that crisis come to fruition next year, or maybe in the year following, if something doesn't change. And I think one of the big things that we've noticed is, like, we have friends that work at these bigger banks in the inner city, some of these systemically important banks as well, that have also mentioned that they don't even go in only 3 times. They only go in 3 times a week to work, or even at some of the big 4 accounting firms, that they only go in 3 times a week. Sometimes none at all. People just stay at home. So that could prove to be an issue moving forward.
And I think it's important to mention these are also like first-year workers who you'd like expect that would probably go in every day, but it's actually like not that case at all. And on top of that, there's a lot of different problems right now with the inner city and where these buildings are, with like elevated crime rates and public transportation also not being the best, and people just find it like much more easy for them and beneficial to just work from home, and it's a lot more convenient too.
Yeah, on top of that, the University of Toronto released a study showing that the lack of economic activity since the onset of the pandemic and the lockdowns in a lot of the major cities, including San Francisco, which we know is a crime rampant city, as Danny just mentioned, Minneapolis, St. Louis, all these cities, they're not seeing the economic activity that they used to be in the cities, and that's having an effect. And that just goes to show how many people aren't going to work in the cities, in these big commercial real estate buildings anymore, because they want to stay home. They want to stay away from all the mess that's going on in these cities. They don't want to be walking around and going to work when they have a family to take care of.
And it's easily reflected in a recent purchase of a downtown Baltimore tower that, like 8 years ago, sold for $66 million, and just recently sold for $24 million at a 64% loss. So, this could be a common trend we see.
Yeah, that's putting in $1 and getting back 33 cents essentially. Yeah. So, I would never want to do that, and I think that the more that banks are seeing this happen, it's going to start to become a problem. But luckily, who knows if it's luckily, the FDIC, the Fed, the Treasury, all the other regulators of the banks have come together, and they've allowed for these loan accommodations to happen with the banks. So banks can either reevaluate the actual collateral that is used on the loan and revalue it. They can split the loan into multiple pieces. So these loan accommodations and loan workouts are going to hopefully provide some breathing room for these banks.
A little cushion.
Oh yeah, definitely some cushion. And I'm not a fan of government intervention most of the times, but hopefully this does alleviate some of the issues that we could see moving forward. Because if this problem starts to reverberate through the entire financial industry, it could prove a big problem for a lot of consumers, a lot of individual people.
Do you see the value personally in working in an office building in the city? What is your opinion on it?
I mean, it's a hard thing to kind of get like a general value. I would say if you're living like in the city right there, you know, like you get on like in Charlotte here where we're stationed at, we have the light rail, and I think if you live within a reasonable distance to just hop on the light rail and go into work, I could see why would you not just go into work? You make connections, you build rapport with people around you. It opens up a lot of opportunities. I personally don't see any value from working at home.
I agree with that. First of all, I feel like it slows the amount of relationships and connections you're able to make in the office, and that face-to-face talking. I think that's really important, and you're not able to do that when working from home. Also, if we're being honest, if you're working from home, you're not working to the best of your ability.
You're scrolling on Twitter, watching some UFC posts.
Yeah, you finish whatever work you have available at that time, and then sure, nobody's pushing for more or anything. And I think it's important that other people at the company like put a face to the name rather than just a name on a computer screen. So
I think on top of that, if you're working from home, and like I would be if I was at one of these bigger banks or bigger institutions that are allowing people to work from home, I'd be a first year worker, and getting that training that you kind of need, I don't think it would be up to par in terms of golfing. No, I'm just playing, but I don't think it would be up to par as if you were in the office, you know. So I think that has a big thing to do with it. And then again, though, me and Danny ourselves, it's not like we're 35 and we have a wife and we have a kids and we're attached to a mortgage of any sort. So we come at it with this kind of younger perspective. So I mean, I could understand the argument of why someone who is 35, you know, around that age,
as well, yeah.
They have kids, they have a mortgage that they're attached to a house, a family. I can see why they may want to work from home a couple days a week. But I think as we start to leave from that COVID pandemic lockdown era, we have to start moving back towards working in the office and actually getting back to normal. That's true normal, and I think that's what we need to get back to. I
agree. You want to introduce our new project that we'll be working on?
Oh, this is a big one for you guys. So here at NoBull, we want to integrate everybody and everything and what we do. And one of the biggest things that we want to focus on is understanding how companies are performing and how well they are actually performing. And so with that, we're looking at introducing a new kind of stock picking game where we'll all collectively pick a number. Where we're looking at 10 stocks at the moment, and we'll create like a portfolio. You'll have your portfolio, I'll have mine. You know, Danny will have his, who's just doing bad. So hopefully, and then at the end, maybe a quarter, maybe 6 months, maybe a year or so, we're gonna check the results and see whose portfolios are doing the worst or the best, and cash prize.
We are working on a prize for the winner right now. We'll decide exactly how much it is or what it is, but I think it'd be really fun and be interesting to also see everybody's picks, and kind of gives us a little bit of an outlook on like what companies people think are good and are going to do well in the short term versus which companies are surprisingly left off like people's picks. So I think that'll be really interesting for us all to see. When we get the results, we'll make videos and share it with you guys as well, so y'all will all like understand that as well. We'll pass that on, but I think it'll be really fun and exciting.
No, I think it'll be great. It's also going to incentivize you to get a good understanding of the market, which is what we're trying to do here. We're trying to help you understand companies' performance, understand the economy as an overall, and most importantly, understand how to take those two moving factors and make profitable decisions with those. And I think incentivizing that is the best way, and I think this game is going to allow us to do that. And who doesn't love a good competition every now and then?
That's what I'm saying.
I love competition. Danny's going to lose. That's my thought.
You're so wrong about that.
We'll see.
You'll see in like 3 videos when you're like, oh, I don't know what happened to my portfolio.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's what they all say. Just like, hey, I got to make a correction on my call a couple videos back. I know I said this.
But also, if you guys are looking for more information, go to NoBullEconomics.com. We have new posts coming out every single day of the week. and it'll give you good insights on the economy and financial world. And I think, and it's free, so check it out, and I think you guys can learn a lot from it.
And you could use these posts to your advantage in the game, hopefully leading you to a big win over everyone else and us.
Yes, indeed. All right, well, I guess we'll wrap up our second video there. Thank you for joining us, and we'll start to get on that every week basis.
Oh yeah.
So,
oh yeah. See you next time.
see you next time.